Let's see here. Just want to double check. Is this being recorded?
Yes, it looks like it.
Awesome.
Yep, I just started that. Yep.
Thank you, Tanya. Sorry, just got the Surgeon General warning. Hey, everybody. My name is Kenny. This is not a Partner Talk Live webinar, but this is a HUG webinar. I'm just an interloper hanging out in a much more popular event. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Hawksoft's it's been a long morning. I am Hawksoft's Director of Partner Integrations. And I work very closely with InsuranceGIG, so I'm here to talk about some exciting advisory opportunities at the end, and also kind of give a fall guy to Michael's presentation whenever someone needs to get under the bus. That's where I'll be. But I'm super excited to be here to help share what InsuranceGIG is working on with Hawksoft and on behalf of independent agents. And I think this is going to be a really exciting presentation. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Ken. First off, I want to do the usual, thanks for having me. It's not lost on me how valuable everyone's time is, and everybody, especially getting into this holiday season where the world's going to shut down. So thank you to Hawksoft and to every agent who's here and listening and taking your time to hear what we have to say. It really is genuinely appreciated. I just want to take a minute or two and to just give you guys some background on personally who I am and the genesis of InsuranceGIG and what brings us here today. By way of background, I'm a digital marketer. I owned flower.com in the mid-90s, and I was buying keywords long before Google was even invented as a company. And I got this massive and fabulous opportunity about 7 years ago to become the Chief Marketing Officer of AmTrust Financial, a large global insurance concern, but a very large player in commercial insurance. By policy, the largest issuer of work comp in the country. And I had this amazing job of running marketing, running digital, and all of their innovation efforts. I have a confession to make. When I first started in the first month, one of the tasks that was given to me and one of the opinions that I had was how to be this digital kind of platform where how do we replace the agent? And, coming in as this digital guy saying, oh yeah, we could build all these tools that, would make the agent superfluous. And I only say it because I've learned a lot in the past 6-7 years. And we've dedicated our company and our business to building tools to make agents better at what they do and allowing them to compete with the direct guys, but allowing them to compete with the large agents and brokerages that have unlimited budgets that you guys do not. And we're going to get into that. And it's something that, unfortunately for Jerry and for Kenny, we recognize at the very early days how valuable it is to work with agencies and work with the AMS, because that's where the action is. And we've built this really cool tool, and I want to share it with you. So the way that I really like to describe this in terms of what we do, because it really is complicated. And I want everybody to rewind, go back in time 12 years. When you got your first Nokia phone, right? That, the phone that we all would play Snake on, and we thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I want you to imagine having a conversation with your current self, and your current self says to you while you're holding your phone, I want to describe the App Store to you. I've got this, iPhone, device, and it looks like, kind of a cool, something this size of a deck of cards. It's got no buttons on it, and you could access apps and, use technology and pay with in-app purchases. The Nokia holding self would say, you're nuts. I have no idea what you're describing. It makes no sense to me. And that's kind of the challenge that we have in describing InsuranceGIG. Together with Hawksoft, we've invented a new way of doing things. And we really need you to think about that and kind of have a little bit of an open mind of our approach. And here's what we do. We have built an app store. So if you think about your phone and you've got, let's just pretend we all have iPhones for a moment, and you think about your iPhone, you have apps on your phone, and you've got Uber, and you could call a car, cancel a car, schedule a car. You have not, as a user or a consumer, integrated with a limo company. You have not asked for their documentation, their APIs, their credentials. Apple has created a framework for you, the consumer, and the creator, whether it's Candy Crush or Uber, Waze, or Lyft, to come list their service, list their superpower on this platform, and for you to consume it incredibly easily, quickly, and without any financial risk. Together with Hawksoft, we've done the exact same thing. And basically, I'm going to jump around, and I'm not going to go crazy and geek out. And if anybody wants to reach out to us after, there will be plenty of opportunities, and we'll spend as much time with each and every one of you as much as you guys want and and demand. But here is what we call our GigMarket. Here is our app store, and the journey starts here in a very familiar screen. And this is something that can and will be made to each and every one of you, where there will be an InsuranceGIG button built in to your AMS. And one thing that we recognized, and more importantly, one thing that Hawksoft is recognized, just like Apple determined very early on that they can't build every single app. They can't build the best weather app. They can't build the best stock app or the games. Their apps are amazing, but it's a huge world out there. Hawksoft realized the same thing. They're amazing at what they build, but they realize that they can't build everything that every agent wants for every circumstance. And that really led way to this partnership with InsuranceGIG, where we said, hey, let us handle the thing that you can't or want to build. And either we'll build it ourselves, or we'll go to the creators. We'll go to the people who have built these services already, and we'll make them easy to access, just like Apple made apps easy to access. So that's kind of the overarching narrative or summary. So I just want to pause there for a moment. Kenny, if you feel I left anything out, or if anybody wants to kind of pipe in with a quick question, I definitely want to make this interactive. I don't want this to be me droning on for an hour. So I'll just pause for a moment.
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head in that I think Hawksoft for our entire history has always said that agents know how to do their job better than technologists, and we have to listen to them. And with that recognition of what our limitations are, it also comes an understanding of what is our core competency. We're really good at policy and client management. We want to provide table stakes for an agency so that if you have Hawksoft right out of the box, you can do all of the things that you need to do just to participate in the industry. But as agencies grow and want to go beyond that base functionality, Hawksoft firmly believes that it's with our partners that we'll build really comprehensive and far-reaching tech stacks. And the thing that we found so great about InsuranceGIG is that there are things that might be within our reach, but as we're focused on our Hawksoft 6 infrastructure changeover, they're not within our bandwidth. And so we can turn to an ally like InsuranceGIG and say, we have this problem, we have some ideas on how to solve it. If we can bring X and Y to the table, and InsuranceGIG is like, we got a big table, we can do this. And so, yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Hawksoft is very comfortable saying, it's not what we do, but we know people that can help. And InsuranceGIG increasingly are those people.
So a couple of things for you guys to think about. And these are kind of sales pitches, but I really want these to permeate your minds. When I was at AmTrust at a carrier, when I would go to an InsurTech trade show with all the vendors, I know what it felt like to be the prettiest girl at prom, right? Every vendor was kind of coming to our booth and saying, hey, I want to sell you my service. Now, those vendors, they're all chasing the top 500 carriers, and they're all chasing the top 500 brokers. But I realized that there's about 40 to 50,000, what I would say, small to mid-sized independent agents and brokers that have been completely disenfranchised from what I'll call big boy tech. If that's not politically correct, I'm searching for more politically correct ways to say that. Please put your comments in the suggestion box, genuinely. But until I hear a better one, we are really proud of the fact that we've gone out to these amazing partners that I promise if in a small $1 million in revenue agency went up and said, hey, we want to use your service, there would be a disconnect because they want to charge $10,000 a month and they want an annual contract. And the average agent can't support it from an IT perspective and from a budget perspective. There's just a disconnect. We've bridged that gap. We've done all the integrations with all these vendors, and we've packaged them in a way that's super easy for you guys to use and consume. So back to just very quickly, kind of how it works. There's an InsuranceGIG button right here that you could have built into the AMS, which Kenny could set you up if you guys are inclined. And then it launches our GigMarket. And I'm not going to, even though I really want to, I want to go through every single one with you in detail and show you, but Kenny told me that I shouldn't, so I'll try to listen. But think about it again, like the App Store, there's a huge array of different categories. There's stock and weather and games and travel. We've got a huge array of different types of services. We've got data, we've got RPA, we've got scanning, we've got back office, we've got quoting. We're working on finance solutions. So let me give you just the first example for data enrichment. Okay, we've partnered with a firm, which is Relativity 6. These guys are experts in data classification. So here would be your GigMarket with either your logo on top or however you want it branded. We could set you up in an hour. You can set it up yourselves. We'll share the link with you how to sign yourselves up. It is super easy to set this up. There's zero IT requirements. And once it's set up, you have access to all these apps. So here's one. It's Relativity 6. They do data classification specifically for NAICS codes. So if you or your CSR or whoever the persona is comes in and wants to get a NAICS code, and we can do NCCI also, and you hit the button, right now in real time, the second you hit that, I'm going to the vendor in real time. I've already built the API and the digital integration connections. I got the result, and here they are ready for you to cut and paste and have a NAICS code available. Okay, so that's just one independent example. Another one is an amazing partner is Broker Buddha. We talk about digital forms. We talk about supplemental forms. And again, Broker Buddha, they're an enterprise vendor. And I challenge anybody to kind of call me out on this, but Broker Buddha, they want to deal with larger agencies. They really won't work with someone unless they're paying, don't quote me, but I believe it's right around $10,000 a month. It's just, as an enterprise company, it's not worth their while. We convinced them to integrate with us. We did all the work, and now we've made it available to Hawksoft users in our app store. So you could, again, click right here, and you're already logged in, click into Broker Buddha, and you have access to all these different, carrier forms or record forms that, so if you want to do a quick search for a smart form, if I just typed in, Chubb, and I hit search, all the different Chubb forms would appear, and I could select it, and it goes right into my library. And now that I have these different forms, let's say I wanted to take the ACE Real Estate Professional Supplemental. I could copy the link to this form, and then you could then put it into your CRM or email it. You could preview the document right here. So you could walk through with your insured, or you could actually even just open the tab and this is what the insured would see when they get that link. And they fill it all out, and the information now comes in digitally to Broker Buddha, who sends it to us, and we can now get that because of our integration with Hawksoft. We could populate that information right into the AMS. You don't have to do any work. And I'll show you one more app just to kind of, to mention it. We hear a lot about certificates of insurance. And again, part of this collaboration between Hawksoft and Certificial, who's a preferred partner, we've built a workflow to be able to get the cert holder data and different data fields that Certificial has, and actually get that data into Hawksoft, which which we could do with a bulk upload. And these are things that agents such as of yourselves have asked for. Through Kenny and Jerry, we've been told what you're looking for, and we've built these services. So I'm not going to go on into all the apps. If we have time, maybe at the end, if anybody wants, but I hope you get the idea that in one spot, you could access multiple services. And this is the most important thing, guys. We did it where the pricing is transactional. There is zero financial commitment, okay? You do not need to sign any long-term contracts. Each one of these services is pay per use. And, for example, the NAICS data could range anywhere from $1.50 down to 30 cents, depending on volume and, what the use case is. The broker Buddha I mentioned to you, instead of paying $10,000 as an enterprise license, is available for $6 per completed supplemental form. And the Certificial one, I don't think there's a cost associated with it. And if the services work, keep using them, and we believe that you'll pay for them over the course of time. And if they don't work and they're not for you, we want to know, and you have no commitment. So that ability to try these services out without a huge financial commitment was designed for you, the independent agent, in mind.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point to kind of hit on. When Michael, I love your example. If you don't mind bringing that previous slide back up, just to kind of hammer this point home. The one with the apps. This is a great comparison. Back in the day, you'd have to call a taxi, or if you're a high roller, you have a car service. They just, you have a driver going to show up, Mr. Big pulls in front of the brownstone and gets out of the car. That's a cost prohibitive service that someone at a certain echelon had access to, but it wasn't, equally accessible by everybody. Uber fundamentally shifted that, where now you have access to a driver when you need it. You have access to a nice car with a driver when you need it. And it doesn't cost you that annual contract, that huge upfront spend. And that's something that's really exciting for me as a person who works very closely with partners and also agencies. I work very closely with Hug. I'm wearing a Hug shirt right now. And I love meeting with agents and talking with them. I have big concerns for what the financial forecast looks like for 2023. And so it's already in my mind, like, okay, what, in terms of like driving education and conversations, what's going to really matter in the next year? And to me, it's like, well, how do we access technology affordably? And how do we make sure that we're not bleeding a business with these tech costs in an effort to save them in this bad economy? Like, if we're not paying attention to what is being drained out in exchange for the service. And so I think that this type of gig market where you're focusing on smaller incremental costs, largely when things are successfully utilized, is going to be very beneficial going forward. And that's one of the factors that really drives Hawksoft's participation in this relationship is, we are used by agencies that are massive in scale and doing multiple $1 million in revenue every year and growing aggressively, but that's not our bread and butter. That's not our core. Our core are small businesses, Main Street American agencies. And I think that this is that type of opportunity where it's like, how can we have this egalitarian, democratized access to technology without hemorrhaging money without realizing it? Like I get ads all the time for services that are like, we'll show you all the streaming services you're signed up for and how many you're not watching. And occasionally I'm just like, I've been watching Netflix a lot lately, but maybe it's like Disney Plus. I don't think I've turned that on in a while. So why do I still have it? It'd be much easier if I could just pay for it when I needed it. So I just wanted to hit that point because I think it's really important to stress to everybody. It's very cool.
So here, Pat, I see you asked the question, let's look at this. Do we build our dashboard based on the vendors we know we will use, or should we add vendors that we don't use in the service in the future? Yeah, we built this in a very modular way, Pat, in the sense that, keep in mind, some of these are commercial lines, some of these are personal lines, and we'll work with you to say, well, okay, I'm a commercial lines only agency, so let's hide all the personal line stuff. It doesn't cost you anything to keep them there. I think it'll drive inspiration, but it's up to you. Like, there might be certain apps that might be expensive, and you might only want the agency owner to see that app and not the CSR, and we have that flexibility as well. But let me, if I can, jump into like the ask. Like, why are we here? Like, why did we ask you guys to join? And I want to be super transparent about something. We are a new company. I quit my job at AmTrust, and I launched this about 16 months ago. We went live with Hawksoft in a couple of different use cases 3 months ago. But I really do not want 500 Hawksoft agencies to sign up to InsuranceGIG tomorrow. I don't. We're in our early days, and we asked Kenny and Jerry to please introduce us to the elites. Introduce us to the, I even kind of spelled it out here on the screen, kind of like, who do we want to talk to? We want to talk to tech-forward agencies, people that want to be innovative, that want to try things, and we want you to be part of what we're calling a design partnership, a design council, where we're not looking to make money now. Like, we will make a lot of money in the future, but that's not our focus right now. Is we want adoption, we want feedback, we want partnership, we want collaboration, and we don't want to be demanding with your time. We recognize how precious and rare and valuable that is, but we realize through the thousands of demos that we've given and the thousands of agencies that we've spoken to that we've struck a chord here. And we want to, I've never been an agent, but you guys live and breathe it every day. So are the apps that we've built what you want? What else do you want? It would be great if, you built this great little app, but if only you connected, these two services together, then that would be a meaningful service. And to that point, I just want to show one thing, which again,
Michael, real quick, if I may, this is Jerry Fox. I'm the VP of Carrier Relations with Hawksoft, and as you've heard, I've been mentioned numerous times. And one of the things Michael said early on was, unfortunately for Jerry and Kenny, that is not the case. It's actually been a very fortunate situation for us, as we identified issues that Hawksoft has, and being able to connect to some of these very fine partners, and the fact that a lot of our agents couldn't afford to connect with them because of costs. Working with InsuranceGIG has just been huge for us, and I will say that, and that's why we're here today, because one of the most annoying things about Michael is that he keeps asking us, what else can we fix? What can we fix? Where's the problems? What can we fix? And you guys know those issues inherently. So bring them forward, bring them to Kenny and I, join their group. These guys want to hear us, and they want to fix the issues. That's the beauty of it.
Thanks, Jared. I'll share one other technical thing with you guys, because one of the realizations that we came to is no systems talk to each other, right? You work with a wholesaler, they've got a system, who then works with an AMS, who then works with Guidewire at Duck Creek. None of these systems talk to each other, and it's like this major fundamental problem in insurance, and we recognize that. One of the things that we built is this kind of widget builder where we could take individual apps and connect them. So just to go back to Apple and iOS, for example, there's an app on your phone called Shortcuts, which is really bloody cool. And you could say to your phone, hey phone, when I wake up in the morning, I want you to check the weather. If it's raining, order my Uber early. When I get to the bridge, hit the Starbucks app and order my coffee. And when Uber ends my ride, SMS my next appointment and tell them that I'm on my way up. You could string together companies that have never worked together. And I can't tell you how many times I try to build tech with 2 or more partners and it just doesn't go anywhere because it's hard enough one-to-one, but you add a third or a fourth, it becomes bloody impossible. What we've done is we've made it available to very easily connect different services to say, okay, scan an Accord form and turn it into structured data. Then we're missing data, so go to Relativity 6 and enrich it. Then go to Talage and get a quote, and now put that quote into the AMS and let Rocket Referrals send out the quote. And we could build these recipes of different services, which is critical. And these are the things that we want to get feedback from you on, what to build and what would be meaningful to you. So to get to the ask, and we're trying to get 20 and only 20 agencies, really not more, to become part of this Design Innovation Council. We already have quite a few people that have applied and requested, to be on it. It'll probably last about a 4-month period while we're just working with you and understanding what your needs are and what type of data and what, which CRM do you use and what data sources are you missing? Like, where are you working with inefficient processes where you're rekeying data where you shouldn't, or, where we're going to really work with you. We've gotten our vendors to agree to charge nothing or close to nothing to give you their services to try them out, to make sure that they work. So you're going to get hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of free credits and services to these vendors. And you might not need them all and you might not use them all, but you're also going to get a lot of free value from InsuranceGIG, because with this group of 20, by the end of, let's say, 30, 60 days, we're going to come back and say, okay, here are the 15 suggestions you made. 16 out of the 20 want these top 3, and we're going to build them, and you're going to get them, and we're not charging you for that. Like, that's something that we would charge an MGA or a carrier a boatload of money to do, but we want to make them available to you, the independent agent, and because you're volunteering to be part of this design collaboration, we're going to build them for you at no cost to you. And the only commitment we ask is that you engage with us and you spend time with us and you teach us. And if you want a finished, ready product that's you don't have the time for it, we'll be here in 121 days, and we can't wait to sign you up. But that's what we're looking for in the short term.
Yeah. And I love this. And something that specifically under the auspices of partner integrations at Hawksoft, we're looking to facilitate agencies getting connected with InsuranceGIG in this effort. It'll be part of the follow-up email that goes out on this, but I just also put a survey in chat. I've created a Survey Monkey to collect information if people want to participate in this. In my role with partner integrations, we get this request from partners every once in a while to get input from Hawksoft agencies. Obviously, Hawksoft requires a strong level of trust to provide that type of access because, as Michael alluded to at the beginning, you are all very busy agency owners, producers, professionals, CSRs, and I have seen time and again how you're probably some of the hardest working group of individuals. I think it's a lucky few that get to spend too much time out playing golf. Most of you are kind of consistently helping your communities and consistently behind the desk working. So I am looking to be able to facilitate Hawksoft agencies getting connected with our partners to provide insight. The very first opportunity for this will be with InsuranceGIG. This is separate from HUG's CAB initiative because it involves partners, and we kind of want to maintain a balance of neutrality there. Since I already work with partners, I'm going to help facilitate this relationship. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. My email is khendricks@hawksoft.com. But also, if you're interested, you can just fill out that survey. That again, it's in chat. I'd call it anonymous, but we actually ask for your name and email, so it's not anonymous at all. But if you just fill it out, it takes about 5 minutes, and it shows us that you're interested, and it helps us make sure that we're not going to waste your time. And so definitely fill it out if you're interested. If you want to learn more, send me an email, and then we'll make sure that this isn't going to become, and InsuranceGIG would never do this. This isn't like a bait and switch. We're not asking you to like kind of get stuck in their service and forced to pay for their things. This is a genuine offer. Michael has this great statement that trust is consistency over time. InsuranceGIG has been one of our most consistent partners in delivering solutions. And so we want to do our part in help facilitating that relationship. But we recognize that Jerry and I have a very biased position. We've been able to be exposed to them for a lot over time. And so for customers that might be a little hesitant to just immediately jump in with a partner, this gives us a little buffer there where we'll be able to facilitate that interaction, but you can also keep that respectful kind of make sure HawkSoft is involved in there. But just to help facilitate that. And then there will be additional opportunities over the year, additional opportunities with InsuranceGIG and other partners that want to do that. So this is a great way to start there.
Tanya, could you do me a favor? Could you just post in the chat just the link to sign up? If anybody wants, we put a QR code here to make it easy. If you just scan that, it'll take you to the sign up page to start the process to apply. We're looking to do this very quickly. We want to start immediately. Like I said, we really do believe there's a lot of compelling value here, so we are getting a lot of demand for it. So please, don't wake up in a month and say, oh, I forgot about that. I want to do it, because we'll have already started.
Can I jump in here real quick as well? When we talk about the trust and everything else, when we started working with InsuranceGIG, they were looking at our limitations as a management system, the limitations with all of these groups talking to each other, and how do all the APIs work, and data's different, and on a call. And to put it in perspective, there is no box anymore. Everybody said, oh, let's think outside the box when they were carrying their Nokia around. There is no box here. So when you start looking at this and really starting to get a feel for wanting to help, a call right before this, we had a discussion about, hey, I'm part of Trusted Choice. I get leads from them. What happens now? They go into the email, and it gets all messed up. What if you got the lead from Trusted Choice, went to Canopy Connect to get the policy information. Policy information was then sent to a comparative rater of your choice, and then the rates sent to you complete with phone number, all the contact information for that customer, and you haven't lifted a finger, and it just shows up. How much better is that than the current workflow? I think you all can agree that what's happening right now is not very conducive to making things happen now, which is what the customer wants. This can happen in literally seconds, and it's back in your lap with a quote to being able to deliver it to the customer.
Which Kenny, you bring up a huge point, and I really avoided it, but we're doing okay on time. But one of the categories that we are spending a lot of time on with HawkSoft is quoting. So we have a back nine for life insurance quoting is something that's been asked of us, and we built an integration into them. We have integrations into Talage and to SEMSI for commercial quoting. So we're taking the data from the AMS, hit the InsuranceGIG button, we'll send it to these comp rating solutions if we're integrated with them, get all the quotes, and either get them back to you into the AMS, or at the very least give you a dashboard where you could go check your results. So you now are getting access to these enterprise rating solutions that usually only the larger agencies can afford to integrate with and pay for. And that's something that HawkSoft recognizes is going to be a massive opportunity. But we need usage. We need people, using it, and we need people to say, like, I'm okay if it didn't work as expected the first time, because we want you to tell us what is expected. And like I said, we recognize it's not for everyone. Some people might be too busy, but we want those that are innovative and just basically want to level the playing field and say, like, we need your intellectual property. We need your mindset and perspective of being boots on the ground, and we'll deliver that enterprise tech to you in a way that fits right into your AMS on a budget that makes sense for the average independent agent. So I want to make sure that we have time. I know we always talk about Q&A, and everybody for some reason ends up being shy and says we'll do it later. But if anybody has any questions that, if there are no questions, it means I didn't do a good job.
I saved one from earlier. And this is a good question because, the insurance technology world is big, but in the independent insurance space, there's going to be some known players. And so Pat asked that, if you're already a customer for one of the providers in the gig market, are you able to access it in the gig market, or are you cut out from that because you're already paying them in a different way?
So we're going to deal with stuff like that on a case-by-case basis. And these are some of the things, why we're building this. There should be no reason why you would be precluded from using it in either place. Now, just because you're already working with them and you have a contractual relationship, there's still value to using InsuranceGIG, because we could now make you part of that bundle or that recipe. So if you're working with Canopy Connect and you have a contract, that's great, but you could use them to exactly what they offer and no more, no less. But if you're doing it through InsuranceGIG, you can make them part of this bundle or recipe to connect to the CRM and create that additional value. From a pricing perspective, we'll work through it. We'll make sure that you're not getting double billed or and again, right now, during this trial design period, we want to make sure that you're paying as little as possible. And if there are any charges, you'll know about them in advance, because some of the vendors, they don't want to give everything to everyone for free, but they want to, give you $100 or $500 credit, and we'll work with you on that. But I want to stress that right now, the financial is not our concern right now. It's just not. It will be, I promise. We're not running a non-for-profit here, but we want to learn from you guys.
Right. And just to dig into that, because it would be great to have that one button inside of Hawksoft to access these providers that, because now we have to go to each provider's website. Some provider like Rocket came up with Sidecar to make that process a little easier. But it sounds like you guys are doing a bang-up job trying to solidify or ease the burden for the CSRs to use these different tools quickly and easily. So thank you for that.
We're trying. We really are. And, we have these internal conversations, here, like Ken, have your thumbs up. Can I show one more really cool widget?
Yeah.
So,
go for it.
So to everyone, who was it? Lisa, you asked for a list of vendors. I just put a link in there. This is a slightly outdated, this is an internal document, and my whole team is going to scream at me for sharing this with you. So ignore the pricing on here, okay? But it's a really good list of the services that we've built from the vendors that we have. But again, we want you to tell us, hey, I work with this vendor. If only that I could get the data into my AMS. If only I could connect them to Agency Zoom or Agency Revolution or Rocket Referrals, whomever it is. But this is one that InsuranceGIG came up with. And it might be a great idea, it might not, and the agents might say it's not for us. But coming from AmTrust, the holy grail, the big objective was, how do you give a work comp quote by asking the insured as little information as possible, with the ideal being, how do we get a phone number and quote comp? Now, we took a slightly different approach, but look what we've done. And this is not live, not tomorrow, but if we get 2 or 3 agents that say they're going to use this, we could turn this on very, very quickly. So check out what we built. You, the CSR, the producer, logs into this payroll pre-fill widget and says, create a unique payroll link. So it would be Joe insured, insured at insured.com. And here's the phone number. And here's your unique link. Okay. Now, whether we auto email it or here you could copy it, but here's a link that would go to the insured, which would show them this window that says, hey, Joe Insured, welcome to this experience. Would you like to get a work comp quote? All you need to do is log into payroll, which they have cookied into their browser. So Tony's Pizza Shop says, okay, here are my choice of payroll providers. I'm going to log into TriNet. Here's my username and password, and hit the submit button. And as soon as they do that, because we're able to pull from the payroll the name of the business, the total number of employees, and the gross payroll. But there's no governing class code. So we then take that data, and then I hit vendor number 2 to get the NCCI code. Then I hit, let's say, the AmTrust API, and I get a work comp quote. And then I could take that quote and put it back into the AMS, or I could email the agent and the insured and say, on behalf of Pat Lamb Agency, here is your $4,000 work comp quote. And all you needed to do was to send one link to the insured to log into their payroll. Will this replace all work comp quoting? No. Will this be relevant to 5% of your businesses who want a different way to quote work comp? Yes. Do we have it all figured out? Do we have every payroll provider? No. But we're trying to come up with these tools to make your job better, faster, make it easier for the insured. And that's just one more example.
Well, and I mean, when you look at that, that's one example. There's one link created, but think about if you could start this process while you're doing your package quote or your BOP quote, and be able to get the work comp quote back without even being asked for it. Saying, hey, I can save you some money here with this work comp quote. Or one of the other things they have on here was that back 9. You want life quotes for Keyman Life or other types of life insurance. The data would be already flooded into a back 9 to get those life quotes without you having to go out and grab them, without licensing with every carrier. You license with back 9, you've got all the carriers they represent. So
guys, I'd love feedback. Am I smoking crack here? Tell me what you don't like. Tell me, where I'm wrong. Tell me where, what are you thinking?
They're joining the group.
I think the nice thing about this Google Meet is that folks, unlike your standard Hug or HawkStuff webinar, you can unmute yourself. So if you do want to jump in, obviously we don't want to cause a free-for-all, but I think Michael is pretty adept at getting grilled. And so definitely, I think if you have questions, please do bring them forward. If you want to put them in chat, I'm happy to read them.
This is the audience participation portion.
I think while people are drumming up the courage, I'd love, Michael, for you to talk a bit more about that workflow builder, and maybe I can provide my perspective on it. So Hawksoft, my job is like facilitating these direct one-to-one integrations. How do I go out and how do I get integration with Rock Referrals, integration with an Agents Revolution, those types of things, and pursuing that. Those are very comprehensive, complex integration situations. But there are other circumstances where you just need a portion of someone's superpower. You don't need Superman's X-ray vision or his laser eyes or his like freezing breath. You need his ability to fly. And so, but then you also need like Batman's intelligence. And so instead of like splitting the two and only being able to work with one, InsuranceGIG lets you put them together. And I think that's a really powerful component of this that is kind of at the frontier of exploring microservices and augmented API connectivity without a lot of Oded and other members of the InsuranceGIG team are on. They do the hard work. Michael and I just kind of get to throw harebrained ideas at the wall, and then they're forced to figure it out. But I think if more agents are presenting that type of, feedback and be like, oh, I wish we could do X, Y, and Z, it'll help them hone in on these recipes, these complex workflows that put superpowers together.
Kenny, I'll jump on what you're saying, and I'll give you, if you guys can see my screen, I'll give you an example. This goes back to the carrier days where we recognize that from the AmTrust portal perspective, that you guys as agents hate rekeying data. You got an Accord form, you got the data, it's in the AMS, and now you need to get a work comp quote, and you got to go to 4 portals and fill out all the information. And that's why there's, comp raters, but there's not always a time and a place where that fits. So we built a tool, which is really quite cool, which is rather than rekeying the data, you could just drag and drop an Accord form or drag and drop a deck page into the portal. And then we would scan it. We would use OCR technology to extract all the data, turn it into digitized data. We were missing some data, so we got a class code. Then we hit the API, and bottom line is net, we were able to give you an indicative quote in 30 seconds only on a picture of a deck page. And we bound millions and millions and millions of dollars using this tool. But it took forever to build because there were 3 vendors that were involved. With this bundling, you have documents coming in to email or just from files or from Canopy. We could take those documents and scan them, turn them into data, and do what you need with them. And it comes part of the bundling. So again, I could keep going forever. Is there anyone on who's like, hell no? Oh, see, Todd, thank you. I'm glad. Sorry, Todd, we're up to 20. You're out. You're 21. So, yeah, I mean, Todd, we even built it where we could, it's not live tomorrow, but we did build a use case where we could actually log into the email account and pull them from email. So we could identify, we did it for a wholesaler who could identify the email address of the independent agent and pull the Accord forms out of the email and then give a quote off of just emails that are forwarded, so they don't have to rekey the data. So Todd, please make a note that we've got it. We could show you, we could do loss runs, we could do deck pages, we could even do payroll forms, which is kind of cool. Is anybody like thinking, hell no, this is not for me? Or anyone have something that, it doesn't resonate?
Hey, Michael, Ryan Kuntz. Hope you're doing good.
Hey, Ryan, what's up, man?
Hey, no, I think it's great. I think the power of the tool is, I think the thing that sticks in my head is just, and maybe there's more use case that you've already had, but it's such a powerful tool. I'm trying to figure out how do we use it on a daily basis to, either make more money or make our lives move faster, or get a better product to our agents, and figuring out, where you guys have had, or have you had success with those in the past, and what are those examples, or what are you thinking are the top 10 places where you can use this more effectively?
So it's still early days for us. Right now, it's theoretical. Like our, out of the, let's say, the dozen apps and services that we've got live, and now that's a little misleading because, again, I'll give you like a really bad example. you can go into a supermarket and buy 4 ingredients, right? Bread, flour, eggs, and, milk or whatever it is. You have 4 ingredients, but you can make an infinite amount of gourmet, items with those 4 ingredients. We've got a dozen ingredients of which you could now make 10 to the 11th power of different combos of different services. Not to confuse the issue, Ryan, we want to figure it out together. The whole point, I can't build a scalable business where a year from now I have to sit with every $1 million revenue agency and hear their needs and hear their, challenges. I can't do that. That's not scalable. But right now, to work with 20 hardcore and say, hey, these are my needs. We want to spend as much time with you because we're not worried about scale now. We're worried about getting it right and build these things. So I could tell you, like, the NAICS thing is incredibly popular. Now, some agents are like, I don't give a crap. It's the carrier's problem. But some agents want a faster response, and they know that if the carrier gets an application without a NAICS code, their underwriting time goes from 1 day to 6 days. So is it worth 30 cents? Maybe, maybe not. But, right now you're going to get a whole bunch of them for free, and let's figure it out. We're basically looking at things through 2 different lenses. Are they money-saving apps or are they revenue-generating apps? The revenue-generating apps are no-brainers. You'll do it all day long. If I could, if I said I want 50 basis points for every bind that you had to do no work, that's incremental. You do it all day long. But, maybe now I could fire 3 people at Resource Pro because I don't have to rekey data anymore. Is that going to motivate you? I don't know. But if we have 20 people all voting it on together and saying this is relevant or not, it'll give us an idea. So again, I put that link with all of our workflows of what we have today. Part of this Agency Innovation Council will be all of us listing the things we want and all of us upvoting together saying, let's build this one, but not that one. And that's why we really want your collaboration here.
So if I could pipe in and ask something. My needs aren't so much on the commercial end because our business is 20% commercial. We have a relationship with the Ramsey referral program, and that's where we struggle the most. So I totally get the apps that you're building, the resources, the vendors, they're capturing data. Our problem isn't so much the data, it's the exception to the data. It's that personal relationship, that talking to the prospect. So when we do deliver a quote, we know we're not copying something that was done by the competitor because we don't want to copy something that's wrong. So that's our struggle is, and I'm sure other agents struggles, to make sure that if they're going to do business with us, that we're providing them the best solution for their current situation and not totally relying on that old data. So somehow the InsuranceGIG marketing idea, if you could try to think of ways to connect with the people, help us connect with them for those unique questions that we need answered so that we do have the right information so we could stand behind the quote and stand behind the product that we're trying to sell.
I mean, we'll work with you. Again, Oded on my team is going to kill me for saying this, but I was recently introduced to like a very cool app that as soon as they get a cell phone number, if they have like 1 or 2 questions, rather than going through email, like they could send like a quick WhatsApp or a quick SMS and say, hey, it's Pat. I just need 2 quick questions. Could you just verify that this is your zip code and this is your, this is the city or state that you're living in, or you make under $1 million a year, whatever the question is, and then get that in. Now, maybe it's SMS, maybe it's WhatsApp, maybe it's a follow-up phone call. I don't know, but we want to brainstorm with you. Like, think of me like, I had a big team. Like, we have some really smart people here that want to be your outsourced innovation lab for the next 4 months. That's, it's not to overvalue our contribution, but, we've got a really smart team
Right.
here of experienced insurance pros and tech pros, and we want to tap into your, boots on the ground expertise and deliver solutions for you.
Yeah, I threw our little struggle out there because I'm sure we're not the only ones. And this could, having this kind of dialogue with a team that you've put together would be, totally tremendous and awesome, and would help all the HUG users, because anyone that sells insurance, they don't want to sell a new product based on old information. They need the most current. So just because little Joey is on the auto policy, Joey could be married and living in California. What do we know, right? So we just need those people to give us accurate information, and it would be great to find an easy way to do that, so we don't turn people off with 1,000 questions, because us insurance people like to ask 1,000 questions.
Right.
So we'll figure something out.
Turn it into a validation from an interrogation.
Right, exactly.
So guys, we're hitting the top of the hour. If everybody could just please, we still have 20 something people on. If everybody could just go to Tanya's link, I'll just copy it again and I'll post it so it's at the bottom. Please, if you're interested, just take a minute now and sign up, because we really want to jump on this ASAP. We're trying to redefine the speed of insurance here. So,
hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Can I ask the one tough question that everybody's wanting to ask but hasn't had the courage to ask? Will a partner advisor that signs up and joins, will they be getting one of these cool hats?
Hats.
Or t-shirts?
They are nice hats too, I will say.
Absolutely.
Wow, that is such brutal revenge.
Yeah. So for those who have, this hat has become a thing. There's a waiting list for the hats. I'm not lying. It's become part of my persona and the InsuranceGIG persona. Everybody who signs up will at least get a hat.
I keep mine locked in a vault.
Yeah.
I unfortunately am extremely booked today, so I need to run. But I think folks should stick around if they have time and chat with Michael and the team. But I just wanted to say thank you so much on behalf of Hawksoft for attending this webinar. Thank you so much to Amelia Yack and Jennifer at HUG for helping arrange this. And thank you to Michael, Oded, Darren, Travis, Michael, Tanya, and everyone else. Darren, I think I said Darren twice. Everybody at InsuranceGIG who's been doing such great work on behalf of Hawksoft agencies. Jerry and I, we don't meet with a lot of people regularly. But we meet with InsuranceGIG weekly, and that should definitely be a demonstration of how much we value what they're bringing to independent agents. Plus, they have great hats. It's a bonus. It's really a bonus. The technology is the more important part. But thank you all, and I hope you have a good rest of your November, as short as that might be, and then a really good December.
Thanks, Ken. I'll stick on for another minute or two if anybody wants to further engage.
I got a skadoodle. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Pat.
Bye. Talk
Thanks,
to you
Pat.
soon.
More people have to have questions.
Feel free. Feel free.
I'm looking.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm racing off to another meeting too, but this has been wonderful. Thanks to you.
Thank you, Len.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks.
I'm surprised more didn't have questions.
Okay.
Cool. Who's doing the recording? Was that?
We are.
Okay. All right, guys.